Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I am back with another video. Today we're going to be doing a mirror reflection technique. I'm using some products from Gina K. This is the Vintage Rose and the Timeless Beauty set. Well, a lot's changed in a week since the last video. Let's talk some cards and then we'll talk the rest of the stuff. How about that? So here I wanted it to be a one-layer card. I was specifically looking for a set that had like makeup and perfume bottles and things like that in it. I put out a request on Stamp Junkies because Lord knows everybody in there knows their stuff. Was turned on to this Gina K set. While I was over there shopping, I found the Vintage Rose set that I thought would be a perfect little add-on to like this dresser top that I wanted to do, because this card was actually specifically made for Eric's cousin. At Christmas time, we had been talking about makeup and things like that, and I had mentioned that I have super dry skin, and that I could not find a mascara that I loved. And she very, very generously put together like a little makeup bag of some travel size things to try, of different mascaras and some face oil and moisturizers. And it was so kind and so generous of her. And I wanted to make her a card specifically for like that type of thank you. So here what I'm doing is I just have a T-square ruler. I've drawn all of the lines in pencil first, and then I went over, well, not yet. So you saw me do it, right? You saw me do it with the black pen. Don't do that yet. So what I did was I did the whole thing, and then I outlined it all in black, and then I realized that I wouldn't be able to stamp my stamps because I had outlined everything in black already. And so I left it in pencil the second time I did it. You know, we talked about how you don't start over. I didn't have a choice. Like there was no, because I drew the black line straight through where the images would be. So here I have stamped on the little note and then the lipstick. Now I'm going to do the perfume bottle and the flowers with the other objects masked. And then once this is stamped, that was a weird cutoff. Sorry about that. It's been a hot minute since I edited this. Been a lot of stuff going on, right? So I'm going to stamp those down, and then in order to get the reflection in the mirror, mine's a little bit of a cheater way because I chose things that would look pretty much the same back as front. But so then once all of those are stamped down, I'm going to remove those masks, and I'm going to erase any of the pencil lines that are inside my stamped objects. So that way when I get in there and I'm coloring with my Copics, I don't have to worry about having left those lines behind. I am going to mask everything now, all the things, and I'm going to stamp its reflection image. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to stamp them all, and you see I masked off the top of the dresser because there'd be no reflection there. So I'm going to move them all a little bit up and to the right, and that will be its reflection. I chose to use a lighter gray color because I didn't think my colors were going to be super warm. So this is Fairy Dust by W+9, but Gina K really does have a lot of good ones that will also work. So what I did with each stamp was I lined it up with the one that's already there. And then I have to move this portion of it. And I have dark nail polish on, so I can't just like scrape it against my cardstock. That has to mask the reflection image. I almost said reverse. That's not completely accurate. But then so I lined it up with the one I had already stamped down and then just scooched it over to the right and a little up, so that way the reflection will be there. I had to do this way because you would see the perfume bottle is closer to the mirror. So you would see that first and it would block the reflection of the lipstick. So that is why I had to mask that one. And then for the flowers, I need to make sure, even though I'm moving them up and to the right, that I'm not going to stamp off of the mirror. So I just used a Post-it note because I could not find my masking tape, probably because my desk is a mess. So then again, just going to line that up, scooch it up and to the right, and then stamp that down in the lighter colors of ink. which is again that gray. And then from there, I'm going to outline all of those lines. Here you can see this one I didn't do a great job of cleaning, so it did stamp a little bit darker than I would have preferred. At the end of the day, not a huge deal, and it was my own fault. So we're just going to move on from that, remove the masks, and go from there into the coloring. Coloring. Which is honestly the best part. Not that I don't enjoy like the masking and the planning and all of that, but the coloring is really where I can just kind of let my mind wander, and that makes me happy. I chose cooler browns for the woodwork in this one. I thought that that would be just something different. I knew I was going to be using more like vintagey colors just because of the images that were there. Not that I completely stayed away from bright colors, because that's not true. I just can't. But I just thought it would be a good something different. So this is the E70 series. So, lots of stuff going on in the last week, y'all. And while we're not going to be like Debbie Downer here, like you guys know, when you come to my channel, it's pretty much real conversation. And so the coronavirus, yeah. I'm in Ohio. I know several of you are also located just generally in Ohio, and then obviously we have people from all over the world, and it's a worldwide pandemic. So currently, you guys know that I work for police department, so I cannot completely self-quarantine, but I'm doing the best that I can. Pretty much only going to work and home. Peanut is off of school. So far, it's only until April, but Kansas just announced that they will be closing their schools through the end of the school year, and so we're pretty much preparing for that to be the case. Currently, we're juggling childcare between me, my ex-husband, and Eric, because I won't send him to my parents' house. My mother thinks that I am being rash. She's also concerned about not being able to see him for 3 weeks. I do not think I'm being rash, and I will not send him over there. I told her I'd be happy to Skype with her, Google Hangout, whatever, but thankfully, thank you God, kids seem to be less affected. Not that they can't get it, but a lot of them are asymptomatic or they only have really mild symptoms, and but they can be carriers. They can be spreading it. And I can't take the risk with my parents. And also Graham, the last time we talked, she was still in the nursing home. Thank God she's not anymore. She's back at home. So I have my mom there, my dad there, my grandmother there. Like, I cannot send Peanut over there, not because I'm so much worried about his well-being, but because I'm worried about my mom and dad and my grandmother. And now, because obviously of my grandmother's situation, my mom needs help. My aunt actually came back from Texas, and she also has health issues. Everybody in the household is in the high risk category for one reason or another. And honestly, if there is no health care available, if we are unable to flatten the curve and they have an influx of people who are sick, like they have in Italy, like they had in China, if those things are not available, I do not believe that my parents would be able to survive getting this infection. So I can't risk it. So he won't go there. And that is what that is for a lot of people, for a lot of us who have family that is older, or if you have a family that is immunocompromised, any of those things, it's a real fear. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who are saying it's the flu. There's a lot of people out there who are saying that there's no reason to completely basically like shut down. Currently in Ohio, and our governor, which mind you, I did not even vote for. I did not like him, but he is doing an incredible job right now. So impressed with him. He is kind of on the forefront of, shutting down the schools, shutting down restaurants, Not completely. They're trying to be cognizant of our economy, which is collapsing. Because, small businesses, restaurants, local businesses, mom and pop shops operate on such a small margin, that, any sort of shutdown or lack of income could bankrupt them. And that is horrible. Like, you would not want that to happen to anybody. So, obviously encouraging people, if you can buy gift cards where maybe you'll use them at a later date, please do that, or take out, carry out. You just can't go into the restaurants currently where we are. There's no dine in. You can have your food delivered, DoorDash, Uber Eats, all that good stuff. Or you can go out and pick up your food, but you cannot stay inside the building. There's no congregating. A big part of why this has to happen is because there are people who will not self-quarantine, who do not think it's a big deal, who do not think that they need to stay home. I know that they had a huge problem with like college campuses where they canceled the classes, but then, the kids who were still there were still getting together, throwing parties, all of those things, and it's defeating the purpose. And while, myself, Eric will, probably be able to get it and survive it. Now, there's always a chance. People like my parents cannot. And so my understanding of it is, and by no means am I a medical expert at all, but eventually we're all going to get it. Everybody will be exposed to it. However, it is making sure not everybody is exposed to it at the same time. That's the key. And so in doing that, trying to make sure there'll be enough respirators, hospital beds, ventilators, all of those things are available when we need them to be available, because that is the problem that they're having in Italy, is that they do not have enough room, they do not have enough equipment to treat all of these people, and it's crazy. Like, it totally makes me like movies, right? That's all we have to compare it to because it's a once in a lifetime pandemic. It makes me think of the movie Pearl Harbor and how when they bomb the station, they're like, these women are out there with lipstick marking people's foreheads on whether or not they can be treated or just made comfortable until they pass away. And that is Italy's reality right now. That is what that is. So here, obviously, if we can avoid that, that would be fantastic. So really, the only things that I went and got, like, there's been this mad run on toilet paper and paper products and stuff, which, I mean, we normally shop at Costco, so we're good on toilet paper. The things that I went for were the cold symptom things. The Advil, Tylenol, Mucinex, tissues, cough medicine, for adults and then for children, because obviously I have a young child. So if you have not picked those things up, people are being prepared to be shut-ins for, the next X amount of weeks, but you need to also be prepared in case you get sick or in case someone in your family gets sick. Now, also be aware of the conversations that you're having. So when I think this was last Wednesday or Wednesday, I think, we redid the banister in our house, which was honestly kind of enjoyable. But so it was already painted like a flat black, dark brown color, and but it was peeling. And so obviously my child decided that he was also going to partake in the peeling because it was already peeling. Mom, why wouldn't I pick at it? So he was also peeling it. So we were going to redo the banister. So we stripped it, and Eric had scrapers. It was not working very well. And I had seen on one of the YouTube videos that I had watched that they had used wire brushes. And so when I picked Peanut up from school, we went to Home Depot to get wire brushes. And I needed, because I had just run out, not because I had been like crazy with it. I needed Lysol, or something, some kind of countertop cleaner because I was out. And so we went into the cleaner aisle at Home Depot and all the Lysol's gone. And I picked up the 409, which also kills 99.9% of bacteria, and I just needed something to clean my countertop. And Peanut was like, Mommy, that's not the one you usually buy. And I said, no, but there's a new disease out there, and everybody has bought the ones that Mommy normally buys. And he goes, oh, yeah, I know, the coronavirus. And I said, yeah, that's what it's called. What else do you know about it? And he said, it's killing people. My 6-year-old child, that was his response. It's killing people. And while that is true, that is not the entirety of it. There are people who are recovered. There are, people who build up the antibodies for it. And just like in that, I guess in that way, it is kind of like the flu, where some people die from it and some people don't. Getting it is not a death sentence. But you do have to be prepared, and, obviously we're all trying not to get it. That would be ideal. But since Eric and I both work in a police department where we have to go to work, we cannot work from home. That's not an option. We're taking, extra precautions as far as washing our hands more often, using hand sanitizer when we can't wash our hands, trying not to get within 6 feet of people if you can avoid it. His job makes that obviously a little bit more complicated, but we're doing the best that we can. Everybody's doing the best that they can. And so while we've talked about some of the really staggering statistics that are coming out of this, I would also like to talk about some of the wonderful things. I have gotten emails from every single one of my utility companies that says that they will not shut off for non-payment for anybody. They will waive all late fees, which is amazing, because there are people, especially in the service and hospitality industry, who are not going to have any income coming in because they rely on tips. There are several Amazon for one of them, which is, it's not even small business, big business. They are hiring, and they have put out, if you are a service worker, if you are a hospitality worker and you need a job, they are hiring to try to meet this need. Since so many people are shopping online, they'd be happy to have you. They've increased the pay of their workers. They are paying them, for 2 weeks, 2 weeks pay, the full 2 weeks, no questions asked, if they are infected with this virus. They are also changing the way that they ship things. You can still get everything you would normally get on Amazon, but they are giving priority to pantry items, to medical items, things that people will actually need. They are giving those things priority. And when you shop from Amazon, you can also help with that by selecting no rush shipping. So if you're, like for me, I got online, I ordered some fabric and some stain since I'm going to be home more, with Peanut, some projects that we can do around the house. We're going to recover the dining room chairs. And then I wanted to redo the kitchen table already. So, we're going to be here. We might as well knock it out and get it done. Like those things are not essential. When they get here, they get here. So you can select no rush shipping, even if you're a Prime member, so that they can concentrate their efforts on getting things that people need. I have seen companies, coming together to support other companies, even within our own industry. And it's just like the helpers are amazing. Doctors, nurses aides, RN, LPN. They are just, those people are working around the clock, and they are on the front lines, and they are completely amazing. I am in awe of them, and I am so grateful that they are willing to do those things. So if you are one of those people, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your sacrifice, for not spending time with your family, for putting yourself at risk. Thank you. So, yeah, it's just been wild. We are currently discussing whether or not we're going to have to postpone our wedding. Right now, the CDC is recommending that there's no gatherings over 10 people for the next 8 weeks. 8 weeks takes us to the beginning of May. If they extend it at all, we're going to be running right into the first week of June. We also don't know whether or not there's going to be any travel as far as the honeymoon is considered. And the really heartbreaking thing is, like, we have a friend who's getting married May 2nd. So they're like the end of the last eighth week. Side note, we gotta go back to the card. So most of it's just been regular coloring at this point. Here, the reason that I chose yellow for this bottle is because the face oil that she sent me, which is Rituals, that was the name of it. I actually really, really loved, and it smelled amazing. And it is a yellow face oil, so that's why I opted for this one. I was only going to do the bottle halfway full, and then I decided to do it all the way full. Right now, you can see those lines. Just stay with me. By the time it's all said and done, you will not be able to see those lines in the center. Okay, that's it. That's all I had to say about that. That's all I have to say about the card, people. That's it. No, I'm kidding. But anywho, so they are due to get married May 2nd. And so whether or not they're going to have to cancel their wedding, they don't even know. At this point, we don't know what to do because nobody is getting their money back. So even if we canceled the wedding right now, we'd still be out like $5,000 just based on deposits. If we continue with planning our wedding for June 6th and put down more money and this continues, with the self-quarantining and no large groups gathering and all of that, we will lose all of that money. Nobody's going to give us that money back. So we're really kind of stuck. We have talked about a couple of different options. We have talked about just having a smaller wedding with our siblings, our parents, and then doing a like vow renewal type thing next year on the same date, and then really having a wedding then. We've talked about pushing it back to, the August or September. We've talked about getting married now and then, just having some like big reception more toward the end of summer. We don't really know what we're going to do. There's certain things that I'm comfortable doing. I cannot go try on any more wedding dresses because it's unnecessary. I'm not going to go into a bridal boutique, be exposed to what they have or expose them, to any germs that I might be carrying unnecessarily. I'm not going to do it. But if I could find one online or order one of the ones that I previously tried on online, I would be totally okay with putting that money down because I will still wear that dress at some point. But like there's certain things like invitations. I can't order invitations right now. And until we know what this is going to be, what if I don't have enough time to get them? And what am I going to do? White out the 6 on the invitations? You know what I mean? So not super comfortable ordering those or paying for like our reception. Those things like the payments for that are due 1 week beforehand. So like we still have the hall and things like that. So we may just keep those and kind of let that ride and see what it ends up being. And then if it's a no-go, then we'll just forfeit the money that we put down for the hall, which honestly, if we canceled right now, we would still be forfeiting that money. So I guess no harm in waiting. But I mean, the people I'm really heartbroken for are the people who had wedding plans in March, April, May. They're really, really stuck, and I'm not sure what exactly they're going to do. I know that their wedding won't be what they thought it was going to be. And I mean, the same thing for high school seniors, college seniors. And I know it sounds trivial, and I know that in the light of what else is happening in other places in the world, it seems like such not a big deal. But, if you have been writing your master thesis in college for 4 years and then you don't even get to walk across the stage to get your diploma, for me, because of what my situation was, and it was my own doing, I didn't, well, I barely graduated high school and I had to go to summer school. I was not allowed to walk with my class because of poor decisions that I made and to fail my history class. And so it was so important to me to go to college so that I could give my parents that graduation that they missed out on. I robbed them of that, all of this time and effort and everything that they put into it. And I completely robbed them of that. And, these kids are getting a little bit robbed too. And there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that it is a loss for them. Okay, so here now everything is colored. I was having a very hard time with just letting it be white. So I opted for some more muted purples. And you'll see that I'm also going to put that into the mirror as well. I wish I would have stopped before I went to the medium blue. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Before I went to the medium blue in the mirror, I wish I would have just cut it. Like, cut yourself off, Kelly. Stop it. But I didn't. And then I tried to fix it mostly. So you'll see me kind of go through that process. I'm just going to do some diagonal coloring. I don't want to cover up all of the white because I want it to have this mirror-like feel to it. So I don't want it to be solid. And I did want there to be some purple in it because the walls are purple. But then I also wanted there to be some blue in it just to kind of break up that purple. And like I said, I should not have put in the medium blue. I should have stopped while I was ahead of the game. I didn't. That was my fault. Don't do what I did. Do as I say, not as I do. So yeah, that's pretty much our situation, is just a wait and see situation. Like I said, we have a lot of DIY projects scheduled. Peanut and I are going to make some cards to send to the folks in nursing homes who cannot have visitors now, which I cannot even imagine. If my grandmother was in there, my mother would lose her mind not being able to go in there and see her. Yeah, okay, so here we are. This is this one. I wish I would not have done this. I should not have done this. Don't do this. But anyway, we're going to make some cards for them. He is, for those of you who don't have kids and you may not know, maybe some general curiosity, for the younger kids, they have reading and math assignments every day. Those are being emailed to me by his teacher. For the older kids, they took home their, like the school provides them Google Chromebooks, and they pay a fee for them and have to turn them in at the end of the year. But they were able to take their Chromebooks home, and they are doing like Google Hangouts with their teachers for, a couple of hours or whatever a day to get their assignments and to get some feedback. So, there's that for as far as, continuing education. We're doing a couple of little things, reading some books, filling out some, papers about the books, counting. He's only in first grade, so math isn't that hard, even though Common Core. I saw a meme. The meme game is strong right now, y'all, for real. But I saw a meme that said all these kids have been learning Common Core math are about to learn how to carry the one from their new homeschool teachers, and they aren't kidding, because I don't know how to do Common Core. He's going to carry the one straight up. So here I stamped the sentiment. It says you're a class act on the little card that's on the dresser. And then I also put like a little kissy lip on the mirror because I thought that was adorable. I am going to outline all of the images that are up front, not the ones we stamped in the gray ink in the back, just the ones that are up front. And that will also help them to stand apart. And I'm going to add a couple of highlights with a white gel pen because there's certain things that I wanted to appear shiny. All in all, I was really happy with the way that the card came out, even though I didn't really have any idea what I was doing. Sandy Allnock has a video that she did about mirror reflections that is excellent. I would recommend that you check that out. I will hopefully be back sometime this weekend to touch base with you guys again. Until then, stay healthy, wash your hands, stay inside. Thank you so much for joining me. I will catch you on the next video. Bye.